Lauren instead in there, feeding it outside to Paul Early. Just pushed as he was playing that ball down towards his full forward Lorcan Dowd, who has it. Dowd, good run forward. That's a fine score by Lorcan Dowd. He got away from about 3 Leitrim players with a little burst of pace, and that was enough. Roscommon 2 points to the good.
An excellent score there by Lorcan Dowd, and I have seen Lorcan play with UCG this year in Sigerson Cup, and he's one of the most feared forwards in the game. But certainly this is a marvellous score, and takes it burst past 3 defenders and kicks a great score with his right foot. Certainly that's going to be a very interesting confrontation between Mickey Quinn and himself today.
Cut out by Matthew Riley. It's all Roscommon right now. Derek Duggan fisted away by Seamus Quinn. Tom Ryan trying to do something about it. Played outside by Donoghue. Now Aidan Rooney. Had the only chance so far from a free for Leitrim. One back in midfield again by Killoran. Good deep ball down towards Lorcan Dowd, but 3 Leitrim players alongside him. Referee's whistle has sounded in any case.
It was definitely an off-the-ball confrontation earlier on there, and Paul Early is beginning to suffer at the minute.
Well, the referee has taken the opportunity of consulting with both the linesman and the umpire. Just trying to see if they saw what happened to Paul Early. Been out of football for most of the last 12 months. Number nearly 10 minutes gone, and Roscommon leading by 2 points. Duggan in his 7th championship match has kicked another point. Paul Early clearly still in the wars. Indications that Paul wants to stay on, whereas Michael Donnellan retreats to the subs bench. Leitrim needing something badly. Aidan Rooney's second attempt from a free, and this one is successful. And Leitrim finally get a score after 14 minutes. So just 3 points to 1, and that'll give them a little bit of heart. Fisted down by Pat Donoghue, picked up by Tommy Graham. It's been impressive so far in the limited amount of action that he's been called into play. Lorcan Dowd touching it on the ground, but play continues. Junior McManus, first chance to get a score, and he's put it over the bar.
Marvellous score there by Junior. Certainly back playing something like his old form of a few years ago, but there again the full forward line Roscommon are running right at the minute, and they're under pressure. The Leitrim full back in particular are under pressure, the full back line. Here we see a marvellous score with the left foot, and Junior certainly is more than capable of taking lots of scores with his left. A marvellous score there by Junior McManus.
Noel Moran. The kickouts aren't reaching midfield anymore. The goalkeeper's quite content to play it out to his own wing back. Noel Moran taking the free kick himself. Good deep one this time. And again some holding. Referee signalling a Leitrim free, which Porrick Kenny punts ahead towards Aidan Rooney. Wrestled away from him by Enon Gavin, quite fairly. He gives away a very bad ball, however, to Porrick Kenny. 3 points the margin. Not any longer. Back to a mere 2. First point from play for Porrick Kenny and for Leitrim, and that's a bit better. But a very bad clearance by Enon Gavin.
Terrible clearance here. He tried to pick out his wing forward this ball, but a dreadful clearance, but a marvellous score by Porrick Kenny. And certainly Leitrim will be looking to him for a few more of those to help them settle into this game. But a marvellous score.
It's going to be a tough task for Joey Connaughton to keep tabs on Porrick Kenny. Perhaps the sharpest of the Leitrim forwards. Roscommon getting the free kick. They're holding it midfield. Down towards Lorcan Dowd, judged it perfectly, skips away from Mickey Quinn. And that's Paul Early! The goal by Paul Early after 20 minutes of the first half. Happily recovered. But Lorcan Dowd getting an inch just ahead of Mickey Quinn for pace.
You see that Lorcan Dowd actually loses control of the ball here. But Paul Early on hand to fly kick the ball to the back of the net, and certainly that's a very, very good score. But again, Lurkin Dowden, the instigator of that score, and he is doing a lot of damage to Mickey Quinn at full back. They might consider a change there in the next couple of minutes.
Dury has left that ball behind, the opposite full back, but one back by John Newton. Tom Ryan trying to keep his eyes on it all the way, stabbed away by Noel Moore, and the referee says that's a foul. Seemed a bit harsh. Down into the corner. Again, it's Larkin Dowd taking Mickey Quinn around the scenic sections of Páirc Sean McDiarmid there. Noel Moran. Enon Gavin has that one taken away from him by Aidan Rooney. Stopped by Tommy Graham and challenged and fouled. Colin McGlynn with the sliding tackle. Isn't permitted, of course, in Gaelic football. Mickey Quinn. Joe Honeyman is a brother of Ollie, who's one of the Leitrim selectors. Marvellous fetch by Liam Conlon. Conlon for Leitrim, a Leitrim side trailing by a goal and 4 points to 2 points. Nicely on. Conlon once again, the starter of that move, and he finishes with a goal. That brings Leitrim right back into it. He got a goal against Galway in the last round, and a goal now against Roscommon in the semi-final. Is that to be a lucky omen?
This shows a magnificent score here by Liam Conlon. He started and finished the move. Great inspirational score to Leitrim, and certainly got them back into the game. Pádraig Kennelly had a big hand to play in it, coming in from the right hand side, but Liam Conlon, you see, stumbles into the square and kicks a magnificent score, riding a very, very high and tough challenge there, but a great goal. Keeps his eye on the ball and slips it past the keeper.
Now Pádraig Kenny, clever player, trying to get away from Grehan. He's left it behind to Seamus Killoran, and Grehan as well there. Paul Early unable to get it up onto his feet, fed forward by Jason Ward to Barney Breen, nicely forward. This is George Dugdale. Was that a penalty? The referee allowed an advantage, nothing comes of it. And this time it's Barney Breen who drags down the Roscommon man, but I think there was a penalty there.
But this definitely was a foul. We'll see the rerun of it here again. In fact, it was George Dugdale, I think, on the ball here, but that for me is a definite penalty on the inside the square.
Just inside the square. Pat Donoghue trying to assist Pádraig Kenny. Ball taken forward to Barney Breen. Just taking his eye off it. That was enough for Pat Dury to come in. Again, the referee didn't like the challenge from Pat Dury.
I think Pat left the boot in there, and
Barney Breen has missed 2 so far. This would be the first he would point from his 3 attempts. This is the angle from behind the goal. Gives us a great view of it. His first successful attempt. And there's only a point between the teams. Tom Ryan. Oh, Paul Early getting away from Declan Darcy quite easily. Larkin Dowd. Junior McManus to play it out towards Paul Early on that wing, where he got the goal earlier. Inside for Seamus Killoran. Fisted forward, nobody in there. Don Kennellan is.
I think Don did the right thing there, tapped the ball over the bar at a stage like this. Certainly that was, I suppose, a goal chance, but I think he did the right thing and tapped the ball over the bar there. Again, the hard work was done here, I suppose, by Paul Early. Popped the ball into one of his midfielders, and the man inside, unmarked, Don, tapped the ball over the bar. Fine score.
Kennellan. Junior McManus, wrong footing. Joe Honeyman. Honeyman resorting to the foul, free quickly taken, inside to Larkin Dowd again. And really, Mickey Quinn conceding yardage. And there was a push. And the referee has taken the notebook out. And he's going to take the name of Mickey Quinn. Derek Duggan makes it look quite routine. His 3rd point of this match. 3 out of 4 attempts, and 3 points between the teams again. Touchdown here to the waiting Jerry Flanagan. Taken quickly by Aidan Rooney. Nicely inside by Pádraig Kenny, needing to bridge the gap once again. Cleverly over the bar, demonstrating why he's the most consistent predator in the Leitrim forward line, reducing the margin to 2.
Great score here by Pádraig Kenny. Without doubt, I've seen him do this with UCG for the last 3 or 4 years here, and this is a marvellous score. Outside of the right foot, well executed.
John Newton, wonderful fetch. And fouled by Jerry Flanagan after he'd already been fouled. A game which has been littered with foul play. And the occasional nice bit of action which has been well worth coming the journey to see, like that one day from Declan Darcy up to Liam Conlon. Now Barney Breen trying to go by Leo Shield. Not a fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, the referee decides. It gives Leitrim a late chance in injury time in the first half. This to put just a point between the teams at half-time. The umpires considered it, waved the white flag. Barney is quite relieved. 1-6 to 1-5. Pat Donoghue showing them what John Newton can do. He can do as well, but he's left it behind this time to Don Connellan. Nicely onto Tom Ryan to extend Roscommon's half-time position. Marvellous score. And it all came from Pat Donoghue's fine fetch but inability to hold on. And Roscommon, fleet-footed, moved into the attack and scored a fine point. And the referee signals for half-time, having played over 3.5 minutes of injury time. We had 2 goals in that first half, the first coming up in the 20th minute after Paul Early slotted away a good goal, and then 2 minutes later Liam Conlon for Leitrim, and so at half-time it's Roscommon who lead by 2 points, 1-7 to 1-5. Some people haven't got seats in the stand, but they have got the best standing possible place up in the trees. Ward and Donoghue still at midfield. Newton and Killoran for Roscommon. So who will face Mayo in this year's Connacht football final? Picked up there by Jason Ward. Conlon deceived by the bounce that time. Leo Shield is his marker, but getting assistance from Pat Dury, the fullback. Joey Connaughton, well, in-nipped the wing forward, and the trip noticed by the referee.
I see Pat Dury here giving a dreadful ball along the ground. Certainly that was and likewise a terrible kick there.
Aidan Rooney to kick it, right-footed, and to narrow the gap to just a point. Ward racing for it, won by Tom Ryan here, the army officer based at Collins Barracks, to John Newton. Ryan once again, good return ball. Getting there ahead of 3 Leitrim players, kicking well. That's a super point by Tom Ryan, his second point of the match. He made it happen, and then with great invention passed, took the return and kicked splendidly.
Certainly the score of the game so far. Tom Ryan registered a magnificent point, again with his left foot from a difficult angle, but that is certainly the score of the game so far.
Jason Ward taking it by Tommy Grehan with ease. Punted ahead by Dugdale. Barney Breen out there with Pat Dury, and the referee says there was a push. It wasn't all that obvious.
I think Pat was harshly judged there to have fouled. I don't think that was a foul. Certainly he was coming from behind, but he definitely played the ball.
That ball coming in again, well, I think it was a fair enough challenge, but hang on, there was a right hand out on the back of the forward. Correct decision. Rooney 2 from 3 so far from his frees. That's 3 from 4 now. And the margin reduced once again. So 1-8 to 1-7. Challenged by Joey Connacht and Corey Kenny before the ball arrived.
That's right, Joey showing all his experience here. Give him a little nudge of the hip before he won a great ball in the air.
Killoran. And Quinn pushed in the back by Derek Duggan. John O'Mahony has done a very good job with this Leitrim team, picking up where PJ Carroll more or less left off at the helm here. Now Paul Kieran, players in support. Conlon, already with a goal to his credit, booted away in desperation by Enon Gavin. Don Connellan for Roscommon, who looks such a potent force as Tommy Graham moving into attack. Hauled down. Doug Dale, the culprit. Lorcan Dowd now, first chance to impress in the second half against Mickey Quinn. Quinn getting back goal side, supported there by Darcy. High up into the air it goes, and Tom Ryan has kicked over another one. A third point for Tom Ryan.
Certainly Tom Ryan could have a major influence on the way this game is going to finish. That's his third point from play. There again, Lorcan Dowd creating the opportunity, does the right thing, turns around here and feeds the ball back, and Tom Ryan in the right place at the right time. Kicks a wonderful point again with his left foot.
Ryan has had 3 attempts and 3 scores. Don Connellan. Now Derek Duggan. Tommy Grehan has got up and stayed with the attack. The centre half back, here he is. Oh, that's a very wild blow by Jerry Flanagan. And the referee's going to call him across. He's got an eye injury. They're calling for attention to Jerry Flanagan. I think, I'm not too sure if he's been sent off or not. The referee's had a word. It's a bit confusing. Leitrim might like to take him to one side just to cool matters down for a little bit. Here it comes again, John.
That's right, I didn't actually see what, here we are. Oh my word, that was certainly a nasty challenge.
Well, he's staying on, no doubt about that. Picked it up well, and then straight away fouled. And away on the far side, there's another player on the ground. The Roscommon wing forward, I think it's Don Connellan. And Jerry Flanagan, the player who was nearest to him. And this time, it would appear as though Jerry Flanagan is making that long, lonely journey to the far sideline. No question about it this time. Well, he's been booked already.
He'll be disappointed. It's naturally enough, it's very disappointing for any player to be sent off.
Leitrim are down to 14 players. 19 minutes into the second half. So 15-man Roscommon. This is the player who was fouled, Don Connellan, which led to the dismissal of Jerry Flanagan. Paul Early popping it up into the air. One umpire says to the other, wave the white flag, and that he does. Paul Early now with a goal and a point from this match, and Roscommon open up a 3-point gap. Sails to the middle to Jason Ward. Plays in Dublin with St. Bridget's. Dury. Deep ball, Mickey Quinn calling for it. Supported by Joe Honeyman. Now Paul Kieran started to roam a little bit. Honeyman on for Darcy. Porrick Kenny. Good player at holding the ball, making inroads in the opposition defence. At the best of passes, Matthew Riley back there in support. And inevitably John Newton as well. Easily picking out Paul Early. An occasion now for the experienced heads to really give some leadership to the younger players about them. Conlon. Well, Leitrim haven't had too many chances in the second half. This is one here, it strikes the post from Rooney, and it goes outside. Well, they've only had 2 attempts in the second half, and both of those were points. And that was a close one by Aidan Rooney.
Certainly, George Dugdale made a magnificent run through the centre here. Great support play there by Liam Conlon, and most unfortunate for this ball to come back off the very, very bottom of the post. A goal certainly here for Leitrim would have brought them right back into the game.
Well, the umpire waved it wide, but the referee said it struck a defender, so it goes for a 45. And Darcy ready to take it quickly to Kenny. Back to Darcy. Have to get this one. Does so. Oh, it's struck over the bar magnificently by Declan Darcy. Darcy from Mahawillan cutting back the lead once again. Only 2 points between them. I make it just over 10 minutes to go, perhaps plus some stoppage time.
Certainly Leitrim will be looking to the likes of Pura Kenny and indeed Declan Darcy here to bring them back into this game. But that was certainly a great score. Riding the challenge and kicking a magnificent right foot. That was destined for the back of the net, only for it to tipped over the bar there, but a great, great score.
As they watch on the sideline, intense faces, studying what's happening. Fallon belting it forward to Lorcan Dowd. Can he be a match winner yet? The next score may be very vital indeed. That's gone wide also. It remains 110 to 1-8. Well, the last 7 of Roscommon's attempts at score have gone wide. Martin Fallon. Junior just touching it down, allowing Don Connellan to take, but he gives it away to Joe Honeyman. Now Noel Moran for Leitrim. 5 minutes to go. Paul Kieran against Matty Riley. Joe Honeyman had been encouraged to go forward for Leitrim. So long the Cinderella County in Connacht. Barney Breen can't take it. Instead it's Enon Gavin for Roscommon. Gavin again trying to push Breen out of his way. Breen was fouling. Far too many free kicks in this match. Driven forward by John Newton, huge kick forward, punched down by Don Connellan, but only as far as the waiting Pat Donoghue. The green and gold taking it forward again. Rooney, nice ball forward to Liam Conlon, turning to face the target, 45 metres out. Leo Shealy's marker, Leo trying to put in a challenge. Conlon, fouled, free kick. Situation right in front of the goal, 30 metres out. 2 points between the teams. Leitrim the side trailing.
Certainly Liam Conlon here winning a great free, I suppose that's what you would call it. Took on the whole Roscommon defence and won a vital free kick for them.
Well, he's kicked 3 points out of 4 attempts so far. He's put just a point between the teams with his 4th point, and I make it 3.5 minutes left. The referee made on some stoppage time. Jim Carney there, an interested spectator, studying the form. Free kick to Roscommon. Tommy Graham has discarded the bandage. The challenge being put right up to Roscommon, who by now you feel should be 5 or 6 points ahead. But it's still anyone's match. Tom Ryan fouled, free in for Roscommon. This is a gilt-edged chance to widen the gap again to 2 points.
It certainly is a very kickable free for Derek Duggan. He shouldn't miss this one. But there again, Tom Ryan winning a great ball. Did the right thing and won himself a nice free kick, which should put 2 points between the teams.
Derek Duggan, who has scored 3 points this afternoon out of 7 attempts. If he scores this one with under 2 minutes to go, Leitrim would need a goal, you feel, to win. He's hit it over with accuracy. And it's Roscommon 1-11, Leitrim 1-9. And Leitrim then take the opportunity to bring in one of their substitutes, Jerry Holohan. The Roscommon fans looking triumphant already. Mickey Quinn has been pushed into midfield. One last gasp chance. Jason Ward going off. John O'Mahony ringing the changes. Holohan into full back. Quinn taking the free kick himself. Not George Dugdale. Yes, it is George Dugdale. He looks so alike Porrick-Kenny. Dugdale hitting it in towards the aforementioned Porrick-Kenny. Too far ahead, however. Pat Dury in there. Free kick to Roscommon.
Certainly would appear John O'Mahony moving Mickey Quinn out of the middle of the field. It's the last opportunity, and Mickey won a great ball straight away and orchestrated a free kick for Leitrim.
Roscommon in no particular hurry just now.
Come on!
Tommy Grehan's free kick. 15 seconds to go, not counting injury time, and that's kicked high and over the bar by Lorcan Dowd. Lorcan Dowd's second point, 112 to 1-9. And now it looks good for Roscommon, and not so good from a John O'Mahony point of view. Darcy coming down confidently, but not such a good pass. The foul in any case. Foul by Tommy Grehan. Leitrim have possession. They've also won an additional 13 metres because they didn't retreat fast enough. The player on the ground still is Declan Darcy. So is he to go for a point, or will he lob it in and hope for a goal? He's lobbing it in. And Breen is in, and it's a good save! Porrick-Kenny still has it. Wide across the face of the goal, punched out again by Leo Shield, another 45. That was so near. Breen made contact, but the goalkeeper, he may not have known a lot about it. He was in the right place to make the save. Rooney to take it again. This time short to Declan Darcy. George Dugdale now, back to Darcy again. Trying to do a Meath against Dublin a few years ago. They've won the free in. 25 metres or thereabouts. 112 to 1-9. This is what happened a little while ago. There was Barney Breen. That was the save. Excellent save. So it's all come down to this. After Roscommon were kicking themselves out of the game with wide after wide, Leitrim are still there, just about. Darcy hits it. It's gone over the bar, and it's all over. 2 points the margin at the end. Leitrim looked crestfallen. Well, they might. Roscommon allowed them to stay with them right to the end of the 70 minutes by kicking so many wides. The full-time score, Roscommon 1 goal and 12, Leitrim 1 goal and 10. But Roscommon will wonder about the 13 wides they had, 10 of them in the second half.
That's the fourth year in a row we played Leitrim, and you know, there's never been too much in it. Leitrim, you know, they're a very dogged team and never say die, and even when the man they had sent off, they came forward in waves after that, and you know, they didn't give up until the very end.
Yeah, we're through to another Connacht final. It was a hard struggle. We knew that it would be difficult here in Carrick-on-Shannon. Leitrim had won against Galway and won well. That game behind them would have given them confidence. We felt that if we stuck to the task and played football and concentrated on trying to get the scores, we would win. I think we stuck to that. We were a bit, I suppose, wasteful towards the end when we should have scored 3 or 4 points and hit them badly wide, but that's something to work for the next day, but it's great to win.
I felt we needed a good start. We didn't get it today, but we pegged them back from that and came to grips with it, and were right in the game right through, so that it was a bounce of the ball. It was always going to be that. It went against us today, but I'm not making any excuses. Roscommon on the day really worked hard, and they deserve their win.
The second half would be the ones that I would be concerned about. In the first half it was quite close, and I think the wides we got were under pressure, but in the second half, particularly when we had the extra man, we had clear opportunities for points, and I think the players lacked a little bit of confidence. They didn't know whether to pass the ball or kick for a point, and that sort of created the indecision and bad shooting, bad misses, and it could have been costly in the end, but luckily a few did go over.
We were a bit disappointed with our return from probably the superiority we had. We had a lot of possession of the ball, And we had a good few new forwards in there, and I think some of them tended to shoot a bit under pressure, even though all the new lads played well today.
Well, so no giant killing act for Leitrim this time. Roscommon advancing to the Connacht final against Mayo. That game on July the 25th. Well, let's take a look at the statistics from today's game. Now, Roscommon will certainly have to steady their efforts up front if they're to beat Mayo in the final. Today they hit almost 3 times as many wides as Leitrim, 13 against 5. Well, the high number of frees is testimony to the scrappy nature of this afternoon's game. A foul a minute, basically, with Roscommon also conceding the greater number here. So, food for thought for Dermot Early and his backroom team for July 25th. Well, now let's hear Colm O'Rourke's thoughts on this afternoon's match. Colm, credit to Roscommon for digging themselves out of a difficult situation, obviously, but nonetheless, it is hard luck on Leitrim, who have knocked on the door now for a couple of years against Roscommon and have nothing to show for it, basically.
Yes, I suppose Leitrim must be fed up with the sight of Roscommon now. 4 years in a row, have got close each year and just haven't been able to make that breakthrough, can't get through to a Connacht final. And it's 1967 since the last one, and I'm sure the players this evening must be feel very, very down over a fairly good performance, and still they're out of the championship.
Yeah, Roscommon in that game today, they always looked as though they were going to open up, but they never quite managed to do that.
No, Leitrim hung on to them, but Roscommon got quite a good start. Leitrim missed 2 chances early on, and a team like Leitrim need to get everything they can early on. A lot of teams feel a couple of wides and they pass no remarks early on. If they were in the last minute, they'd be saying they were terrible wides. But
sure.
Leitrim had a couple of bad misses early on, and they needed it to get scores on the board. Then Roscommon took over, they got a few points, and then they got the goal, and they were on their way, settled down and into the game. Leitrim had to chase them all the way. They were always that couple of points behind. Every time they got to within a point, Roscommon seemed to be capable of getting another one and just keeping 2 or 3 in front all the way.
In fairness, when Roscommon did get that goal, it seemed that might be the difference that would kind of let them sail on through the game. Leitrim hit back very quickly with their own goal. Now we'll have a look at both of those, perhaps.
Yes, well, the first goal, Larkin Dowd does very good work for Roscommon. He caused problems to the Leitrim defence all day. He's a very, very good player. And even though the ball ran loose, Paul Early was in the right place to put it into the net. And of course, that put Roscommon 5 points clear. Leitrim playing with a lot of spirit, fought back very quickly. Great move here. Liam Conlon started it and finished it, surrounded by players, but still gets in a shot, drop kick shot, and gets it by the goalkeeper. A very good goal, and brought Leitrim right back into the game at that stage.
It certainly did, and a lot of people feel that perhaps they might have had a penalty shortly after that. Now, we've been looking at the incident. I'd like you to tell us what you think of this.
Well, maybe I'd be accused of being slightly biased in favour of Leitrim, but be that as it may, I think that there should be no question about the fact that this was a penalty. Ball has moved in, Barney Breen gives in a pass inside to George Dugdale. Enon Gavin comes across and, without question, I think, pulls him. I think that should have been a penalty. Leitrim had just got the goal before that, and another goal at that stage would certainly have been a big help to them. And they needed all the breaks they could get, and they just didn't get any.
Interestingly enough about that sequence, the Roscommon player had a foul committed on him, exactly the same thing, just a second afterwards there, and he got a free out for it.
Yes.
So a deal of inconsistency there. In actual fact, Declan Murphy from Longford, who was at today's match, felt that the referee was inconsistent this afternoon. What did you think of the refereeing of it generally?
Well, having just watched the tape, the full tape of the game, sometimes when you're at a game, you get a different interpretation of things that's going on. But there was certainly that one incident could have had a big bearing on the game, and there was a couple of other incidents. There was a lot of high tackling in the game, and it's something that's fairly dangerous. And the referee wasn't as hard on players as I thought he should have been with head-high challenges.
Right, looking at the last 3.5 minutes of that game, there was only a point in it. Leitrim still obviously very, very much in the match. So what was the difference between the two sides when it came down to that, a kick of a ball basically?
Well, in the second half, I think the Roscommon midfield took over. John Newton came very much into the game when he was really needed. And again, I suppose a team that's trying to make a breakthrough like Leitrim, everything seems to go wrong. And they never seem to get the rub of the green. And it seemed to happen today, even though it must be said, I think Roscommon were the better team over the 70 minutes. But Jerry Flanagan going off, being sent off then, certainly had an effect on the game, because at that stage Roscommon took over completely. Leitrim fought back though and had a couple of chances of goals which would have saved the day for them.
Right, well, at the end of the day though, Colin, Leitrim were gone, Roscommon march on into the Connacht final against Mayo. How do you think that game might go?
Well, I think Roscommon have made a few very, very good finds. Dermot Earley must be very happy with Don Connell and Tommy Ryan and Larkin Dowd in the forwards. They're three very promising players. And Leitrim probably didn't have a player of that calibre. But of course, Leitrim would have to choose from far smaller resources, maybe a limit of 500 players, you know. So to do very well to put up such a show as they have done today, but I suppose that's no good to them. But Roscommon in the Connacht final, I'm sure that they will improve on that. I think I tipped Mayo at the beginning of the year. Most of my tips
look good for Roscommon, so
most of my tips are going wrong. I think I'll stick to the horses.
All right, Colin, for the moment, thank you very much. By the way, Alan Murphy from Ballinrobe, County Mayo, said that he watched the Connacht match today and he thought it was a very good game. Well, next, we come to our man of the match selection. Our choice from today's game, like all our recipients, presented with a top quality Festina gold watch. And today's winner is John Newton of Roscommon. The big Dublin Garda has been serving Roscommon football solidly for many a championship campaign now, but proving this afternoon that he's still a key man in the middle of the field there. Well, we take another commercial break at this point.